it might have been maybe $500-600 per week.
All right, perfect. And
So maybe $26,000 per year.
got it. And I know that I mean, I understand, of course, that you're coding, right? So that's obviously something to be really proud of, and you've developed these really nice solutions for your company. But do you want me to mention that you were also involved in software development, this company?
Yeah, I don't know. So that's a good question. I prefer, I would say yes, but I realize that that's also kind of out of the box for the resume that you're trying to build. But I'm doing a master's degree right now, and
Yeah.
as part of that, following the master's degree, I'm going to be doing a software development boot camp. It's a 6-month long full stack development boot camp. And so I may be going into that sort of a field in the future. It's one of the options I'm considering, I guess.
All right. Okay, so you want, just to clarify, so you want this resume to cater to program management, sales management, and data analysis and software development roles.
Yeah, I'm not sure data analysis as much as software development,
All right.
software development management. So currently I'm earning probably a much higher rate than like a data analyst would earn.
Yeah.
So I'm
All
not
right.
really interested in that.
All right. So just so we're clear, I would like to reiterate that, a hodgepodge resume isn't as effective as a tailored resume is. But if this is what you want, I can still make it this way.
Well, why don't we leave off the software development for now then?
All right. Okay. I will still mention because employers, any company, they're interested if you've saved time or money in some way, that's something that they're interested in, right? So I'm going to mention it, but I won't explicitly say that you actually developed the whole application and everything. All right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And then you were using Salesforce here, right? And you were creating these applications for Salesforce and automatic updates for that. So tell me a little bit about what the advantage of that was. Of course, you were saving time, right?
Yes.
Would you be able to tell me how much time, weekly or monthly, you think you saved as a result?
So there are two things. One is time, and one is data accuracy. So we have user input error at times when they're typing in information. So that helps in that aspect. In regards to time, we tried to quantify this at one point. I'm trying to remember how we quantified it. I'm remembering in my mind right now somewhere around 300 hours per month.
All right, that's perfect. And then you said that you were preventing these user errors, right? So I want to talk about what would have happened if there had been a user error. Like, what was the negative impact of that?
Yeah. So the biggest negative impact for us is projections, projections on energy savings, things like that, or just not being able to reach out to the appropriate customer.
Okay, got it. All right. So anything else from a project or program management or sales management point of view that you think we haven't discussed?
Um, I do a lot of business to business sales calls. You know,
Mm-hmm.
some of these will be cold calls. So this year specifically, as we've been as the markets made it difficult to generate savings,
Mm-hmm.
I've been forced to kind of be out in the field doing business to business sales calls. So this is like cold call. Um, I've been I've been recognized by fellow employees over the years for my ability to do cold call um,
Mm-hmm.
sales with customers. So I've spent a bunch of time doing that. Generating new leads, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of a specialty that I pride myself on. Um,
All right.
so yeah.
All right. So, again, could you maybe quantify how many leads you've been able to generate, perhaps per month?
Yeah, I would say probably 3 to 5 new leads per month. Those
All
leads
right.
are large customers.
Yeah.
We have 2,500 projects a year, and very few of those are large customers. It's a aggregation of a lot of small customers, and so
Mm-hmm.
the customers I bring in are usually very large.
All right. And what's your lead conversion rate like?
So I guess it depends on the time frame you're asking. Because I've been around for so long, a lot
Yeah.
of these
Mm-hmm.
leads end up converting and becoming projects, but it takes time sometimes to get funding for the projects. They have to put it into their budgeting for the next
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
year, so it can take like a year or more. But it's pretty high if you consider year after year. I
Mm-hmm.
would say probably it's definitely over 50%.
All
Um,
right. All right. And you said that you pride yourself in how well you do cold calls, right? And I know that most
yeah.
people don't like cold calls and are not very good at them. What do you do differently?
Well, I've sold a lot of things over the years,
Mm-hmm.
cold call, and they've all been cold call sales. So it's everything from nonverbal communication
Mm-hmm.
to verbal communication, words that you use, words that you don't use, body language, um,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then how to identify the customers. That's probably a big one, is identification and so the way that I identify customers is it's part data. And when I say cold call, I don't mean like I'm just willy-nilly walking around knocking on people's doors. I'm
Mm-hmm.
generally I'm looking at data. I'm finding customers that I think might have high potential based on data, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
going and targeting those customers. Um,
All right.
Usually it's techniques to getting past gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Techniques like having a name that I need to
Mm-hmm.
talk to before I walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes I'll just ask people as they're walking out of businesses who their facility manager is at their site before I walk in, and then I
Mm-hmm.
can more easily get past the gatekeeper. So there are a lot of like little techniques that you can do to increase your success.
Mm-hmm. All right. Perfect. Right. So anything else?
I can't think of anything, no.
All right. So if you do think of something later, perhaps, how we remember things when the call's already done, you can email me. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So we'll move on to the next role for now. You were the owner at Advantage Lighting Solutions.
Yes. Hmm.
Right. So tell me about this and what your key responsibilities were in this role.
Yeah. So when I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
I had the idea of starting a business that was focused on energy efficiency and lighting. This
Mm-hmm.
was back in the early days when this was like a relatively new concept.
Yeah.
And so I founded Advantage Lighting Solutions. And
Mm-hmm.
when I first started, I was the only person, and I was going out and essentially selling lighting efficient projects to just any businesses out there that could receive incentive money from a utility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started very small. This is mostly just, I guess you could say, I didn't have like outside funding or anything like that. This is all self-funded. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started off selling projects. I sold, I don't know, probably like five or six in my first year as I was, a full-time student. And when I
Mm-hmm.
sold these projects, I had to, in some cases, I had to bring people on to help me do the installation of the lighting equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so at sometimes there was one time when I was doing Sandy City fire stations, and then I was doing a few other projects at the same time. I had a crew of 5 installers that were helping me install the projects. Later on, as I was getting closer to graduating, I was kind of deciding on doing economics as a career. That's what I studied, economics and business
Yeah.
management.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was pretty stressful to have my own business. And because I was responsible for selling, I was responsible for all the normal day-to-day business. I was the accountant. I was the I was uh, the install crew supervisor. I was everything at this company. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was a little bit stressful. And I just graduated. I wanted to do something in that field. And
Mm-hmm.
so I took a data analytics job for a brief amount of time before the economy collapsed in 2008.
Yeah.
When the economy collapsed, I was probably less than 2 months into doing an economics type role. They laid off
Mm-hmm.
600 plus employees at that time.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So I was one of the last ones in and one of the first ones out at that time. So so when I got the day before I got laid off, the utility called and asked me if I wanted to do design work for them as a
Uh-huh.
contractor. So my company, that Disadvantage Lighting Solutions, I that I had kind of briefly stepped away from, I transformed that into design work instead of doing sales and installation. Now it was um, Rocky Mountain Power would have a customer interested in saving energy. They would
Mm-hmm.
hire me to go out and look for energy saving opportunities at their plant and to design a project for them. And so that
Mm-hmm.
started in 2009 and it went through 2011. So for 2.5 years,